Good evening and thanks for joining us. In a town torn apart by tragedy, anger is now emerging, along with overwhelming grief. The number of confirmed dead in Lac Megantic has now reached 20, and the remains of many others still have not been recovered. So when the head of the rail company whose runaway train blew a hole in the heart of the town showed up today, he was not made welcome. Edward Burkhart says he too is devastated, and though a criminal investigation is underway into the cause, he pointed the finger at one of his own employees. Couteur is in Lac Megantic again for us tonight. Mike?
Well, Donna, there's definitely been a change in the tone from police. They used to come out and update us and say that there were 50 missing people. Today, they've changed that to say there are 50 people who are missing but are also presumed dead. The police also told us that they met with the head of the rail company, Ed Burkhart. Before he met with them, though, he did meet with the media. He told us that he came to this town to apologize to the people and try and meet with them, but at the same time, he blamed his own train engineer for the disaster. Edward Burkhart is head of the railway, but in Lac Megantic, he's public enemy number one.
Totally unsurprised.
He arrived in town early this morning, hoping to meet with the mayor and tell this devastated community he's sorry.
I understand their tragedy. I feel personally absolutely rotten about it, but what can you do at this point?
That apology did little to satisfy people here.
Put a rope around his neck and hang himself.
That comment, just a small measure of how high emotions are running here. Burkhart was not allowed to see the most devastated area, the so-called red zone, but he was questioned at length about who did what to the locomotive on that fateful night. At first, he blamed the firefighters, who put out a small blaze on the train up the tracks in Nantes.
The locomotive had been tampered with. That is definitely true. And it was the fire people that tampered with it.
After firefighters left the scene, a track foreman was called to check the train. And Burkhart admits that was likely a mistake.
The trackman was not qualified on locomotives.
And what about engineer Tom Harding? He was the one who parked the cars there and left for the night, following standard operating procedure. At first, the company stood behind Harding, but not anymore.
He's told us that he applied 11 handbrakes, and our general feeling is that that's not now, that is not true. Initially, we took him at his word.
While Burkhart was blaming others, people in this town say he should be taking full responsibility. Raymond Lafontaine lost his son and 2 daughters-in-law in the inferno. He wanted to meet Burkhart face-to-face, but was stopped by police.
Arrêtons de jouer du violon.
Let's stop the violins for him, Lafontaine says. Burkhart is responsible for his employees. Now, Burkhart is taking some responsibility. He's promising his company won't change crews or park trains near Lac Megantic ever again.
Every railway in North America that I know of will park trains unmanned. I think that's probably come to a halt, or will come to a halt. It certainly has come to a halt on our railway. We're not going to do that anymore. We were following industry practice. Was the industry practice adequate? I would say not.
Cold comfort for people in this town, crippled by a catastrophe. Now, Burkhart will be staying in town for a few days. He says he wants to try and tour the red zone. And it may be surprising to some, but he actually wants to speak to some of those angry residents. Donna?
And Mike, what happened to the engineer that Edward Burkhart blamed today?
Well, we're being told that he's suspended without pay because he is under police investigation. And Burkhart says that he doubts that that man will ever work for his company ever again.
Okay, Couteur, thanks.